जुड़े प्रोग्राम खबरसार ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਵੇਰੇ 8 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 10 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਗ੍ਰੇਟਰ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਏਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਲਾ 770 AM ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਔਰ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੋਸਟ CP ਮੀਡੀਆ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਵਾਂਗਾ ਇੱਕ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਅਨ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਤੋਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਅਨ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਰਟਰ ਫਲਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਇਹ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ। So let me welcome Simon Quinn, who is in New Delhi now, and he helped Australian to evacuate from India. Simon, welcome to the show and good morning to you.
Good morning. Nice to be on.
Simon, first of all, I want to know, would like to hear a brief introduction about you and about your group who helped the Australian Indian who were stuck in India.
Yeah, so basically after the lockdown happened, a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now almost, I decided to see if I could reach out to any other Australians that were in India, just for moral support. So it kind of started with a small WhatsApp group that we made just to share information and information on flights and whether people were trying to get home and things like that. And then from there we made a Facebook group and it just grew very quickly. So, people talked about the Facebook group through their networks back home and in India, and, we had 1,000 members after a couple of weeks. So then I reached out to the Australian High Commissioner here and tried to understand what efforts they were making to organise flights for Australians back to Australia, because at the time of the lockdown, as you know, there were no flights leaving India. Or there were no flights coming into India. So if anyone wanted to get out, then basically they would need the help of their embassy or high commission.
All right.
So, yeah.
How many Australians were stuck in India? What was their approximate numbers that they wanted to get out of India and go back to Australia?
So people estimate that at any one time there's about 40,000.
40,000?
Yeah, so about 40,000 citizens and permanent residents in India. I think over the last few weeks, about 10,000 have registered with the High Commission. 10,000 have expressed interest in leaving. So I guess that's a fraction of how many they think are here.
All right.
But yeah, there's a huge number.
A huge number. So did Australian government arrange their own flight as well beside your charter flights effort?
No, they haven't. I mean, they've been trying. So basically, they've engaged. I think they tried with Air India, and those talks fell through. They tried with other airlines, but they had lots of different problems they were facing, and one of the biggest problems was the cost. So, Australia is quite far from India, so because they can't bring any passengers back into India, essentially people are paying for a return trip. So they were charging about they were looking at flights that would cost people about $4,000 to Australia. So it was really, I mean, even if they did end up organising something, those flights would be beyond the means of most people who were in India at the time.
So this is what they were charging, and when you start up your process to hire a charter flight, and was there any cost difference?
Yeah, so basically, the guy that we found, he was able to do this for about 2,200 Australian dollars.
2,200, just half of the price.
Pretty much half of the price, yeah.
And how many you took from India to Australia with this price?
So we've had one flight that's landed in Melbourne, and then there's another flight that's just left Delhi. And then we have another one. We have another 2 flights on Sunday, one from Delhi and one from Chennai, and then one flight on Monday from Mumbai.
So your process is there now, and it's working, and people are buying the tickets of the charter flight, and they're flying back to Australia.
Yeah, so the 2 flights that we've had the one a few days ago and the one today, they've both been full. So both had 440 people on board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
so the demand is high.
I would like to know your experience with the government of India. How did they cooperate with you to bring back all these Australians who were in the different villages, to bring them to the airport? Was it easy to get them a curfew pass? Was it easy to bring them to the airport?
No, I mean, so basically getting the plane here was half the battle. I mean, I think the real battle was getting getting the permits from the Indian government was quite easy to get the plane here.
Okay.
So the difficult thing has been getting people from all over North India to Delhi. So, at the moment, the lockdown is on. So basically, if anyone wants to travel, then they need permission from the government.
Was there any hard time given by Indian government that we cannot keep the crew of the airline which is coming from Australia, keep them here at the airport or a hotel or anything? Will they give them a hard time that they cannot stay here as they are foreigners?
I don't think so, because essentially how we did it is that the plane that came from Indonesia, they took 2 crews. So basically, one crew flew here. I mean, the plane flew here with one crew, and the other crew was on the plane.
Okay.
So basically, no one actually left the plane while it was in India.
All right.
So I think, yes, if the crew wanted to leave the plane, then that would be probably, I would guess, would be a problem. Okay. But if the crew comes here with 2 crews, then they just change on board, and it's not a problem.
Did the Australian government or High Commissioner from Australia and India, did they cooperate with you thoroughly?
Absolutely. We couldn't have done this without the High Commission. I mean, it was led by us, but they were in the background making sure that we secured the correct permits from the Indian government. They were liaising with the Indian government, so they supported us completely. And it would have been impossible. It would have been impossible without their support. Yeah.
Probably you have heard from the group that bring back Canadians home from India. Probably you have heard about this group, and they are having very hard time to deal with the High Commissioner and Canadian High Commissioner in India, and here the politicians here.
Right.
What do you hear about them? Is there any way that you can help them or guide them? They're already getting the flight, I believe. Probably you're already in touch with them. Do you think it was possible for this group to bring back Canadians from India?
Yes, I mean, I've talked to the guy who organized our flights, and he said he would definitely be interested in looking at options to get people back to Canada. I guess one of the big issues with Canada is it's such a long way. So, the logistics of getting people there is quite difficult. I guess you generally would have to stop in Europe, or maybe you could go.
No, if you look at the flight time, India to Australia, I think, then India to Canada, it's only 2 hours difference, not a big difference. It's the same distance, almost. That's what I was told. So it's almost the same distance, yeah.
Okay, yeah, then I mean, I guess, the guy that we worked with, I think he would definitely be interested in exploring options to get people back to Canada. I don't see why not. And I'm guessing that the options that are available at the moment for Canadians are probably very expensive. So yeah, I mean, I think definitely, if people want to explore this option, and probably there's other people who are capable of doing this as well. So if this guy's only got access to a certain number of planes and they're all in use at one time, I think there are other people who would be able to do this.
So your experience is this is not an impossible mission. A charter flight can be hired, and they can fly back these stranded foreigners from India to the other country, and the cost is even much less than what government's efforts were doing, and they were charging you. You said that they were charging almost $4,000 plus, and your ticket costed only $2,200 around that. So it's half of the price. So same way, the volunteer group from Canada they could have done it easily by now. Half of the Canadians would have been here, but the problem is yesterday Sukhi Sandhu, probably you know about him, probably you heard about him, who is in British Columbia there. He went live on the Facebook yesterday. He completely slammed the Canadian government for not helping them out at all. This was his blame on the... Probably, you know what I think, Simon? That we are failing to bring back Canadians from India because we have too many Indian politicians here, elected representatives in Canadian government.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're becoming the gatekeeper instead of they're helping them out.
Right. Okay.
I don't know about, I don't want your comment on it. This is my comment. Simon, anything else you want to say at this hard time? Everybody's going through this hard time.
Yeah, just, I wish you guys the best. I think the most important thing is that things are very difficult, but if you think outside the box, don't pursue, I think if you pursue normal commercial options, then the costs will be too high. So the options that we pursued were not conventional options, but I think, even though it was probably more difficult in some ways, that has allowed us to get as many people out as we have.
All right. Thank you, and good luck, and you have done a wonderful job for the Australian people.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
ਬਾਏ ਸਾਈਮਨ ਕੁਇਨ ਫਰੋਮ ਇੰਡੀਆ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ 40,000 ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਟਕ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਅਨ ਵੀ 40,000 ਦੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਥੇ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਚਾਰਟਰ ਫਲਾਈਟ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਵਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਗਰੁੱਪ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਵਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਵਿਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਨਾਂ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਆਇਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਜਦੋਜਹਿਦ ਕੀਤੀ, ਪਰ ਇੰਨੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਪਈ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਨੀ ਪੈ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। 4,000 ਦੀ ਟਿਕਟ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ $2,200 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰ ਪੈਸੇਂਜਰ ਉਹ ਚਾਰਟਰ ਫਲਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਔਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਫੈਸਿਲਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਔਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਈਮਨ ਕੁਇਨ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਦਿੱਕਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨਸ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ 10 ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਲਾਈਨ ਅਪ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਔਨ ਏਅਰ ਲੈ ਸਕਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਰਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਨੀ ਕੁ ਵਧੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਲਿਸਨ ਦੈਮ ਇਨ ਆਵਰਸ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਪੂਲਰਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਵੱਧ ਗਏ ਆ, ਹਾਰਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ ਦੁਆਰਾ, ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈ ਜਾ ਜ਼ੋਰ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੁਰਾ ਭਲਾ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਬਾਹਲੇ ਕੋ ਚੱਕਦਾ ਇਸ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਨੂੰ। ਭਾਈ ਯਾਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਲੋਕੀ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਆਪਣੇ ਦੁੱਖੜੇ ਰੋਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਬੋਲ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੀਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਆਹ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਆਹ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹ ਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਬਟ ਇਟਸ ਸੈਡ the way this government failed to bring back Canadians from India.